So we're going to be discussing a lot of stuff today, Bruce.
Always do.
Let's just talk about, first of all, we're going to talk for a second about a very successful company here in Nebraska called Industrial Maid.
Huh.
They're just outside Lincoln, Nebraska. They're in the air purification business.
Wow.
Not a bad place to be.
Yeah, that's a great place
if you're
to
going to
be
be
right
around these days during this pandemic era. But let's talk about Industrial Maid right outside of Lincoln, if you don't mind. Yeah. This is a 15-year-old company, right? And it's still a small entrepreneurial firm. Mostly engineers are working there, right?
Do they manufacture?
Yeah, they manufacture, and they work globally now.
Wow.
They're players in their industry. Now, you may have heard of a magazine called Industry Week.
Okay.
It's a
trade magazine, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's forced, or it's part of the manufacturing and industrial world.
Right.
It's a big magazine, been around for many, many years. Anyway, they did an article recently about the 50 states and, of course, the 50 companies in each one of those states that they think is the best manufacturing company.
Okay.
Right? And in Nebraska, Industrial Maid was named the top company by Industry
Wow.
Week.
Well, that's cool.
Right. So we want to congratulate people associated with Industry Week. And Jeff Zalanek, or Valanek, is the CEO of the company. But anyway, here's what they do. And you might think of it, it's a more complex thing than you might think. And these are the people who, by the way, create air purification systems.
So these go on the HVAC system, on the HVAC?
Yes, mostly factories and industrial environments.
Okay.
They have robotics, as you know, in some of these companies.
Yep.
Welding systems. And they send off an unhealthy fume, shall we say.
Right.
And so these people manufacture sometimes hoods, things that kind of protect the workers from that. They have ducts that kind of purify them and suck that out. But, and then of course they have this, what I would call, not the standard, but an air purification filter, as you would expect, right? So they are and they have the ability to mitigate coronavirus and other viruses.
Oh my gosh. Sounds like there's a lot of science behind all of everything that they do.
Tremendous amount of science. Yeah, I was talking to him on the phone about bacteria and ions. He talked to me about positive ions and negative ions and why they're different, why they both have to be identified, and specific treatments to work with and prevent these ions.
Man,
very interesting.
What a great niche to be in, though.
It really is, and they deserve all the success they're getting. 15 years now, here they are. This is their moment, and they are doing extremely well. But the product lineup, you wouldn't believe, I couldn't tell you right now, but a lot of very specific niche items.
Yes.
For certain medical environments or whatever.
I suppose you can, if you have a certain need, you go to them and they
probably could customize or develop something for it.
I'm guessing.
What I think about strategically here, and then we'll move on to our next topic, is how these systems, air purification systems and air filtration systems, fit into a larger whole, if you know what I'm saying, right? And sometimes they manufacture the elements of but not always. Sometimes it has to go with this piece of equipment.
Right.
And the software has to go with the hardware, and the hardware is made by somebody else, and so on and so forth.
It's all very specific.
Very specific, and they have to be fully integrated, see?
Yep.
And that is fascinating to me. Someday we'll talk a little bit about innovation ecosystems or value ecosystems, because that's what this is all about, is fitting into a system and serving a broad need.
No, that sounds very cool. I'd love to see that plant where they do this. That'd be amazing.
I tell you what, I'm counting on that opportunity exactly. So thank you so much, Bruce Aaron, for being here with me and talking with me about this. And by the way, before we move on to the next subject, WowBiz Nebraska does exist in part to publicize and talk about your community, right? Your company, whatever you're doing that's innovative, that's exciting, even if you're moving in a direction you haven't actually arrived yet, keep us in your eyesight, keep us in the works. We want to know what you're doing, and we'll be happy to talk about it, and maybe bring in people from your organization, chat, and make sure that your customers and your employees know that you are getting the publicity and the exposure that you deserve.
Recognition, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. They deserve that.
Yeah.
They absolutely do.